Reddit by Reddit recap. People who have masturbated in class. Just why? Funny story. I was reported for doing so even though I was just scratching my balls because they were itchy. Bored, put my pencil case between my legs and wiggled back and forth in my seat a little to make time pass. My classmates did it once. Lies. They did it 3 more times. They were caught by the camera, and the weird thing is they did while the teacher was there, and what's more weird is they didn't get in trouble for doing it. A mild punishment, yes, but they didn't even call their parents. I sat next to a guy who looked at DeviantArt latex BDSM drawings. This was a 400 level history discussion course with less than 10 people in the class. I want to say I was surprised by this, but it lined up with everything I knew and heard about him. If you are reading this, Ben, duck you. I wanted to discuss the First World War, not look at your shitty porn. He didn't care then, and he doesn't care now. Not me, but a classmate. We were in the school's auditorium watching some movie. I don't remember what movie it was, but it was some documentary and definitely not sexy at all. This was a big auditorium and there was like 13 of us, so we were all spaced far from each other. I saw from the corner of my eye that a guy in the row below me was moving a lot. He was in that row alone and I was in the top row alone. I guess he forgot that there was someone behind him, because when I turned to look at him, he was fully out. Full on wanking it. No idea why he was doing it, but mind you, he was 16 years old at the time, so he really should have known better. His mom needs to read the How to Stop Your Child from Masturbating in Public WikiHow article. One of my friends was the coolest in the class, became bored and horny. He used his biology book to look at a drawing of a naked woman and started masturbate. 2 friends next to him did it as well because they did everything to be cool as well. So I just saw how 3 friends masturbated in class next to each other. Gayest moment I've seen, and they all say that my story is made up now. Well, fortunately I'm more believable than them. I lost faith on those 2 guys doing everything the same just to be cool. Well, I was in 6th grade and I took an advanced computer class that only had 5 people in it. Each student sat in his own row. I sat in back row, and teacher sat up front. 55 minutes of internet access and my assignments were done in 20 minutes. You do the math. Also, my social studies teacher was fresh out of college and super hot. Women can do it unnoticed. So can guys. Some guys. I've managed hands-free once. I was about 13-ish. Lots of concentration and hands-free. It's not uncommon. Teacher of 20 years. A kid wanked off all over his mates on the back of a bus going on a skiing trip, and a kid at my husband's school, wanking during an English class, came over a copy of 101 Dalmatians. I didn't masturbate. We were having a test that I didn't know of, and I got so anxious and scared that I just came. I had no idea what happened, but it felt really good. 4-ish years later I found out what happened that day. Edit. Spelling. Kids were taking a test and I was bored. Edit. This is why you should always put a serious tag on your questions on Reddit. I was just fidgeting with my hands in my pockets in English class in 6th grade. The special ed teacher didn't think so. They still use it against whenever I got in trouble at my old middle school. I was writing some notes from the board. Class was over and had kinda been working it under my hoodie for the last half hour. People leaving was, I thought, a good distraction to finish up. But the teacher caught me. For some reason, us making eye contact rocketed off the most insane, leg buckling finish imaginable. She was horrified, disgusted, told me to get out and never come back to her class. All that stuff. That's how I managed to get expelled from homeschooling and stopped being invited to holidays. It was a weird time, but when I was an elementary kid, I was unaware that I was masturbating in class. My way of masturbation was to rub my penis between my legs and eventually get off. I discovered it in class during our examinations, and the feeling of nervousness and excitement led me there. I remember that I frequently do it, and it was the earliest masturbatory experience I can think of. IDK how it started, but I always had this small security blanket with me wherever I went when I was little. Well, for some reason I started dry humping it and it felt good, so then during nap time, in preschool, I started doing that, got caught and then stopped. Hot substitute. Flu season. Almost half the class was gone. No one at my table group. Everyone was typing on shitty school keyboards and the computer fans sound like jets taking off. Didn't get caught by the teacher, but my friend said he knew cause he had done it to the same teacher in another class. He was a bro and got her to bend over across from me to help him. Her boobs were down and her bra was too big. I saw her nipples cause she wasn't wearing a very conservative outfit and had a v-neck. I helped him the next day see the same thing. Then the day after our 60-year-old guy teacher was back. Good times. My 7th grade science exam I sat next to a guy who had rumors spread about him masturbating during all of his exams. I didn't believe it until the table started slightly shaking and his other hand was under it. What's up OP? Looking for redemption? Top 10 anime redemption arcs. I.F. was in 5th grade and I just wriggled in my chair the right way. Cut to me an hour later. Still doing it and all flushed and sweaty. We were all clapping under our desks for some exercise in music class. I mean this was going on for a few minutes at a time in this lesson and I was a hypersexualized 11 years old. Go figure. I'm sure I wasn't the only one doing it. A few hands went up when asked if we wanted to do it again the next week. Haha. My nephew quit teaching when a boy masturbated in his class. He couldn't believe it, and he just quit. Was the person masturbating to your nephew? I remember in middle school we had a cougar of a math teacher. A guy named Moses caught this kid jerking off to our teacher with his jacket covering his lap. He recorded this kid jacking off under his desk and all I could ask was if he used the same jacket to cover it up to clean it up. I'm a female and I masturbated in class in grade 6. I sat at the back and everyone was busy with homework. I pray to God up to this day that the teacher did not see me. She was sitting at her desk, also at the back. Why would you do that? Horny obviously. I just don't understand it. I have never had an erection in class ever, except that one time where we were watching Schindler's List. I've had hundreds of boners in class. You must just be lucky. Not exactly class, but I was about 13 and girls my age had all just started wearing thongs and you could see the straps sticking out of their pants when they sat in class. One day in 7th grade math, it was thongs gone wild with all the hot girls. I was in the back and after not too long I had to use the bathroom. First successful school fap and I have zero regrets. The old whale tale. The 90s were a magical time. Not me, but a friend whom I caught. When I asked him why, he said he liked the danger. Also, our history teacher was this young man. Couldn't blame the guy for doing so, just for doing so during class. Personally, I hate it, but you know, you do you. How do you know your teacher was hung? Not me, but I was sitting in the back of the class in English language arts and I was bored, so I just started looking around the classroom and I saw a kid in the very front of the class just with his hand in the back of his pants and he was bent over and I'm pretty sure he was fingering himself. His face also didn't make the situation better. Also yes, he was the weird kid in that grade. How the duck can someone pull this off during class? You don't pull it off. That would be barbaric. Just vigorous stroking. The right mix of hormones makes teenagers basically mentally handicapped. They just realize it years after, myself included. PHEWWW. When I was a kid, you know Leonardo da Vinci's Mona Lisa, right? I saw it in an art book. When I saw Mona Lisa's hands folded by her knee, how do I say this? It's a bit crude, but I got a boner. I see you're a man of culture. Not me, but my teacher was caught jerking it in the computer room by the computer teacher during class. His classroom was next to hers and they were connected by a little room in the middle and he would go over there while his class was doing tests or something. Holy shit, that dude's life must be over. My boy told me to turn to page 127 and there were boobs. Not even a picture, just the word boobs. 80,085. Math book, 95x843 equals, NLBF Supreme, Psi, unzips. For legal reasons, I'm not allowed to say, however, the horse didn't seem too pleased about it. Damn, It must have been bad if the teacher seemed unpleased by it. I just writhed in my chair for half an hour, and because I am a fat buck my dong and balls were rubbing. I used to, a year ago, have a partner in class that would masturbate almost every day. If he couldn't do it at home then he'd do it in school. Have you ever heard of the Pythagorean theorem? Sounds sexy. Because I was a horny pervert, I still am, but I was then too. Admittedly it got out of hand when I started doing it to seduce guys. This one kid in class started breathing heavy, everyone heard but the teacher. Then there was a loud bang and it turns out he trapped his dong in his zipper. He panicked and fell off his chair. Edit. When he was on the floor I heard a very quiet ow. For the last time, I was just trying to find my keys. And the white marks are just whiteness stains. I tried it cause I thought I could do it without getting caught and I was horny and like masturbating. But the way the teacher was looking at me, I don't think they knew, but it made me too paranoid to continue. I thought my health teacher was hot, so what does my horny freshman ass do? Man, I know for sure you didn't have my health teacher. Let's say our health class experiences were very different. I've done it in my guidance counselor's office. I was her office aide, but she was gone for the day and there was no Wi-Fi in the room. I had to entertain myself somehow. The worst part is I was like 17, so I definitely knew better. One time I tried jerking it on the school bus because there was a hot girl on that same bus and we were seated so I could see her but she couldn't see me. Somehow. The only problem was there was a guy asleep across the aisle from me and I kept praying he wasn't actually awake. Sadly I didn't finish, but it was a cool experience. Best comment of the day. This video showed up in my recommendation. Funny how I experienced something similar to this. He was my classmate in primary school for 5 years. Dirty minded. He did mess around with me a bit, but I never actually care about it and wouldn't call myself a victim of bullying. So it was during English class. He went beside my seat at the back of the class and poked my groins. He did this to other boys in the class as well to annoy them, but he does it more often to me. Do not exactly know why. I got annoyed of course, but since everyone in class have known his behavior, we would just told him to stop and he will eventually. But after that he started rubbing his pants. I told him to stop cause of his bad discipline record, but he pulled out his dick and started wanking it beside me at the back while the teacher was writing in front of the class. Did it for a few minutes and then he stopped. I didn't know what was his intention at all even till this days.